Hi you guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Cheney and I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids ages 11, 4, and 9 months. And today I'm going to be showing you guys our picks for language arts. So, like I said, my kids are 11 and 4, so what I like to try to do is where I can, I combine, and then where I can, I separate. Language arts is one of those things that they're just in such different levels that it's really hard to combine. But I'll get to it in a minute where I will be combining, but for the most part, they will be separate curriculum for them. So I'll start with uh, kind of what I'll be combining and kind of what I won't. And that's going to be lightning literature. So my older son has read some of the books that are going to come along with this, but for a lot of them he hasn't. Like he hasn't heard any of these fables. So the way that I'm going to do it is whenever we're reading the books and we're talking about the books, we'll do them together. However, this is level 1, grade 1. So for the actual student book or like any of the assignments, those will be more geared towards my younger son, or I might just stick with the conversation and just sort of see where my younger son goes, because we homeschool for a 40-week school year. So the other curriculum that I have is just not going to fill out that time. So we'll see kind of how I piece it all together. But so the first thing that's going to come with Lightning Literature Grade 1 is this Aesop's Fable for Children. And these, I already love this book. This is just something that we haven't made it to in our homeschool. I've been homeschooling for 3 years now, but my older son ended up spending one of those years back in the public school system. So this is really, this rich literature is really an area that he hasn't quite fully gotten, so I'm excited to go through this with him. And so that's the first thing that comes with that. This is the teacher's guide. Now, when you look into Lightning Literature's teacher guide, it at first looks very unpleasant. It just looks like a bunch of text. But this isn't how the actual curriculum goes. This is just for you. So it's set up on a 4 to 5 day school week. The 5th day is optional, but it will let you know sort of week 4 at a glance. And then it will tell you to read to your child and then ask them these questions, and it'll give you the answer, and then it has a space for you to write down their answer, the conversation, and then it will tell you what you're doing with grammar and mechanics. It sort of explains to you what it is you're looking for out of your child. Now, my younger son isn't at a place where he can read a lot of these books on his own, but I will be reading them aloud to him, and I will be asking him these stories or these questions aloud. So he isn't really there with writing or with independent reading, but it says in the curriculum, like, if that's don't let that be a barrier. Just read it aloud, talk to him aloud, and that's always kind of how I've been, because he's on this level. He just isn't on this level when it comes to like a writing and answer, reading and writing an answer versus being asked the question out loud and answering out loud. So that's the teacher's guide for that. And then this is the student book. And I really like the student book. It's much more colorful, much more pleasing to the eye. It'll say day 1, day 2, and this is a secular curriculum. I don't know if I mentioned that before. It feels weird that I have to like point that out, but it doesn't have any like sort of religious references necessarily. I mean, there's going to be different cultures and stuff and different stories. I liked the diversity in the selection. I really love the book selection. But I don't, if that's a thing for you, then it's secular. Okay, so that is Lightning Literature Grade 1. And then for my younger son, oh, wait, I wanted to show you guys the book pack. So Lightning Literature has a book pack. I got the book pack off of rainbowresource.com. It is a little pricey, but all of these books I'm pretty sure you can find at your local library. I didn't want to take that chance because we live in weird times and I didn't want to start the curriculum and then the whole world shut down and not be able to have access to any of the books. So these are the books that go with this curriculum that you'll be reading. The first one is The Tale of Peter Rabbit, Harold and the Purple Crayon, Stella Luna, which was one of my favorite books when I was little. I'm so excited to read that with him. Frog and Toad Are Friends. My older son has actually read this I Can Read book series, so he was excited to see that. The Napping House, Joseph Had a Little Dreamcoat, Barbar the King, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Mouse Soup, which is another I Can Read book, Always Room for One More, The Story About Ping, Umbrella, The Snowy Day, The Story of Ferdinand. My older son was really excited about this because this book is in The Blind Side, and he likes that movie. The Big Orange Splot, Caps for Sale, Millions of Cats, Steam Shovel, or Mike Milligan and his Steam Shovel. Sorry about that. I can't talk today. The Important Book, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, Curious George Flies a Kite, Best Friends for Francis, Bill and Pete to the Rescue, Dr. DeSoto, Chester's Way, How Drupus the Dragon Lost His Head, Chickens Aren't the Only Ones, Tiki Tiki Timbo, Mabella the Clever, Wabi Sabi, Madeline, which was another one of my favorites when I was little. Madeline, not Madeline. Grandfather's Journey, Make Way for Ducklings, This is London, The Hello Goodbye Window, and last but not least, Best Mother Goose Ever. So there you have it. There is the whole pile of books with the curriculum. It's a lot, but I'm super excited to get to all of those things. Okay, so next I will go to, this is going to be my younger son's curriculum for this year. for his individual work. So I bought, all of this is from The Good and the Beautiful, which is a religious curriculum. If you are secular, I find it so far to be super easy to edit if you would like. If that's something that you're not interested in, then I mean, it is what it is. It it's not any there's nothing too specific in the curriculum as far as it doesn't get deep into any particular doctrine. It's just generally it'll say, it'll have sight words like pray or Jesus, character words and stuff like that. So the first thing that I bought is this box set of Luke and Lily in the Lighthouse, and I got the companion card game. This is a compound word game, and I haven't, or we haven't done this together yet, but my son really, really likes to play games, so I think that he'll be excited about this. This is the level 1 reader that comes along with it. Now, this is available on this whole curriculum except for the handwriting. The whole curriculum is available on their website for free. I always buy the printed version because I just don't have it in. I print enough stuff as it is. I don't have it in me to print all of that. So, but this is the level 1 reader that comes along with it. I love their readers. He did the primer K and level K through The Good and the Beautiful, and we really enjoyed them both. So I'm excited to start level 1. Their readers are always really pretty. I think these used to be in black and white, but it's super beautiful. It's glossy, it's very colorful, and I'm sold. So there is that. This is handwriting level 1. He did level K last year. My older son has done the level 1 through here. He never made it to level 2, and he went back to public school, and then now he's back again, so I'll show you in a second that he'll be doing the level 2, which starts to introduce cursive. This is the before cursive level. I don't think it introduces any cursive here yet, but I love their handwriting. It adds, things like coloring, because it's motor controls that leads to good penmanship. So it will have little doodles, little coloring pages, numbers. My son really didn't want to learn how to write for a long time, and then he just suddenly sparked an interest in it, and just out of nowhere his writing just exploded. So I'm excited for him to do a more structured curriculum. With the level K handwriting, he just kind of did it whenever he felt like it, and if it got too frustrating, I didn't push it, because it's just not a skill he's ready to do yet. So he's only 4, so yeah, see, I love God. So it is, it's religious, but I don't find it offensive, but to each their own. If you don't like stuff like that, then, I guess I think there's like handwriting without tears, I think might be, don't quote me on that. That might not be secular. I've never actually looked at it. So there's that, and then he will be doing literature, or language arts and literature level 1. This covers phonics, reading, spelling, writing, literature, grammar and punctuation, and art appreciation. Now we incorporate art appreciation in almost everything except maybe logic, but I like that it's a lot of things. Because he's so young, I don't really use the spelling trees. We do the sight word trees, but we don't do them necessarily. Like, I don't do the phonics cards. I bought them with my older son when he was doing the Good and the Beautiful, and then I bought them for level K, and we never use them. It never sticks. So I didn't even buy them this year. Normally they would come with them. If that's the thing that you want to do it. It does not, It does not spark joy in our house, so we don't do them. And the way that I do these trees, I found with my son I couldn't have this page out because he would want to read all of the words all of the time, and it made it harder for him to remember any of the words. So what I actually do is I take them and I write them on our board in our living room. I have a big whiteboard, and I write the words of the week. I started with just one tree, but then he complained that he wanted more words, so now I do 2 trees at a time, and he likes that, and it works for us. So, and then what I'll do is when I switch them out, if there are words that he still hasn't mastered in one tree, or in the 2 trees, I will keep them up and then just slowly work in new words. But yeah, it's all colorful and bright and pretty. I like what I've seen so far. He really enjoys the good and the beautiful. He went to preschool when he was 2, but he doesn't view doing this as school. He just says, "Can we do my level 1? You know, can we do my math box?" And I love that that's how he views learning. Here's some art appreciation. It'll have games that are just sort of put right in there. I love that. It's so pretty. I get excited about stuff like this. Am I the only one? I know my husband looks at me like I'm a crazy person. He's like, I didn't want to go to school anymore, so I don't. I get super excited about this stuff. But yeah, so that's The Good and the Beautiful's Language Arts Level 1. Oh, put that flat. Okay. On to my oldest, my 11-year-old. So he is going to be focusing on biographies and autobiographies this year. So the first thing he's starting out with, by the time this gets uploaded, he will already have started this because we already started learning about Frederick Douglass, and we've listened to his 4th of July speech because while I'm recording this on the weekend of 4th of July. So my son is approaching the age where it's time to start talking about the more complex aspects of different holidays, and we're also going to get to Abraham Lincoln, and I feel like you can't study Lincoln without studying Frederick Douglass. So he is going to be reading Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, and I don't have a book study to go along with this because there wasn't one. So I am literally just like kind of making up my own. The main takeaway that I want him to get from this study of Frederick Douglass is the point that Frederick makes that pessimism and pacifism is not acceptable when it comes to horrors. You can't say, "Oh, I'm against slavery," and then do nothing about actual slavery. You can't say, "I'm against racism," and then do nothing about racism that you see. And I think that's a really important lesson to instill in my kids. So he will be focusing on that. The next thing he will be doing is a book study of Abraham Lincoln from The Good and the Beautiful. He is really excited about this. And the way that these book studies work is they say they incorporate, oh, my camera won't focus. Sorry, guys. Writing, spelling, grammar usage, and punctuation, geography, literature, handwriting, and art. And this actually has like art assignments in it. And I made it there. It will have, it'll say, spell these words. It has like homophones, commonly confused words. It'll have you edit. It'll tell you when to read. The geography, it has him studying Kentucky. And then it'll have these pictures, like, look at the beautiful pictures of Kentucky. We live in the South, if you can't tell from my accent, so this just kind of looks like our backyard, but still very beautiful. And I like that it tries to kind of beat down, like, appreciate the beauty in the world around you. Because the world around us can be very beautiful. It can also be kind of bad. But yeah, so that's that book study. And these two are, so he is reading Frederick Douglass right now. He'll go straight into Abe Lincoln. Um, and then after that, he will be doing A Touch of Magic by Lorena Hickok? I can't talk today. And The Story of My Life by Helen Keller. So this is the biography of Helen Keller and the autobiography of Helen Keller, and the book study to go along with it. Again, this is from The Good and the Beautiful. They don't, I think this is like all about watercolor is the art of this one. They'll look into Puerto Rico. Here's an art appreciation. I believe Puerto Rico was the geography. There's a whole section here about Alexander Graham Bell. Where we live, there is a museum about telephones. So once he gets to this point, we'll take a field trip to that museum, and I am excited about that. Yeah, so it kind of teaches them how to paint certain pictures. Yeah, this is the Puerto Rico one. So he'll be doing that, and then the last book study he'll be doing will be Wild Like the Foxes. And this is a true story of an Inuit child, Aaliyah. What's her name? It doesn't say her last name. But it is the true story of an Inuit girl, and he will be doing, so this is the biography of her, and he will be doing that book study as well. And again, each of these books, by the way, he'll end up writing a paper for. So, and then I'll just store the paper, and that will be his grades for the year, his unit grades. Geography will be up in Canada. Alright, and along with those book studies, you need to get this grammar and writing guide. Now, this goes through these level 8 and 9 book studies all the way through the high school curriculum for The Good and the Beautiful. And even if you're not using their curriculum, it's worth it to have this. This is a great resource. It's literally just all of the grammar and writing rules you could ever imagine. Commonly confused words, let's see, comma splices, compound items. It'll have these different colors at the top that tell you sort of what you're in. So this is grammar, punctuation, and usage. This is commonly confused words. Writing. Everything. This is a great resource to have, and this doesn't have any religion in it at all. So if you're secular, this is a great thing to have. If you're religious, it's a great thing to have. It's just a great thing to have. Okay, and the next thing he is going to be doing are these creative writing notebooks. I bought both of them. I don't know if he is going to make it through both of them because I already have him writing these papers. But if I know him, I know he's going to blow through those books really fast. And so I got these just to sort of flex a different part of his brain muscle when it comes to writing. I have looked through these. I really, really like them. So it just kind of is, it has them, write different descriptions, write different active verbs, and then it just builds on that slowly but surely. Describe the scene. It just keeps building on it. Write a paragraph that shows the given emotion. Use your imagination to create the character and scene. Excitement, peace, and anger. Possible main characters, and so it does this as possible main characters, possible antagonists, and it will literally have them flex out the rising action, the first paragraphs, and then it just has them go through this trial and error process, and eventually at the end they piece together and they write a creative story. And I'm really excited to see what this pulls out of my son, honestly. Like, I can't wait to read what it is he writes when he's done with this little course. So I bought both of them. I don't know if he'll make it through both of them, but if he doesn't, then we'll just use the next one the next year. Next, I got him, all of the book studies include handwriting, but they assume that a child is at a level that my son is not when it comes to handwriting. He writes pretty good in print, he just never learned cursive, and so this is the level that starts to introduce cursive, and it'll just help him kind of practice that print. So, with us having such a long school year, he can do this like 2 to 3 times a week, and he'll get through it way before the year is over. So I'm not too worried about it. But this starts to introduce the cursive letters somewhere in here. Maybe I'll get to it. Maybe I won't. And so I just wanted him to kind of take that step back and build that foundation to work up his handwriting skills. Okay, last thing. The last thing for language arts that my older son will be doing is worldlywise. I am really excited about this. This is just a vocabulary curriculum. I wouldn't use this as like its only language arts curriculum. I got book 5 and book 6 for him. Okay, sorry about that. I got interrupted. So, worldlywise is just a vocabulary curriculum. I wouldn't use it as like your only language arts, but I'm super excited about it. So I've got book 5 and book 6 for my older son. There is a level K and a level 1. It involves a lot more than this does, and my younger son is already doing so much that I just don't feel moved to add this into his workload. When he gets a little older, I'll probably throw in some worldlywise and spelling UC. I just don't feel moved to do that right now. I don't want to add any more. Once I get all of my curriculum picks up for the year, you'll see I have plenty enough curriculum. But yeah, so the way that this is set up is you do, if I can get to it. So it has sort of like an introduction as to how the course is used. Alright, so it has like each lesson will start with their word bank, and the words are pretty meaty: concept, distract, jostle, obedient, obstacle, patient, pedestrian, retire. And then it'll be 1A, 1B, 1C, and I'm going to literally just have him do 1 page a day, 5 days a week. Now, I think it's 3 or 4 weeks, he'll have to do 2 of these pages in a day because it ends with a review, and I'm going to be using those reviews to keep grades. But each day is like a different type of exercise. So the first day they'll read through, and they'll choose 2 phrases from a sentence that correctly uses the word, and they can look back at their word list. So this can be done completely independently. I can just come in and sort of check over once he's done with it. This one, they have to replace the phrase with a word from their word list. This is a multiple choice. This is circle synonyms in each group of 4 words. So budge, warn, shift, accustom. And they have to pick which ones, are synonyms, and then this one's which ones are antonyms. And then the last day they read a passage. These passages are historical, so they're kind of getting a little bit of history out of this too. So I'm excited. And this level 5 is kind of bouncing back and forth between like a story about an animal and a story about like the Civil War type era American history. I know there's a passage about Harriet Tubman in here, and so that is pairing really well with the I covered them up, Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass that we're doing right now. But yeah, so I got 5. It will take him doing the 1 to 2 pages a day. It will take him 1 semester to get through 1 book. So I got book 5 and book 6, really flex his vocabulary, and that is it for our language arts this year. So as you can see, oh, we have our hands full. But I'm excited. It's going to be a great year. I know they're excited, and I'm really excited to dig into all of those books. And I'm excited for my son to dig into all of his books. I know he's got his folder set up. He's ready to write his papers, and that's going to be the video. I have talked for long enough. If you guys want to see anything in any more in-depth, I don't know how much more in-depth I can get, but just leave a comment and let me know. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.